Yep, that's the problem. That little Hiroshima hair dryer is just very small little guy back there, pushing air into this little 1.6. And that's just how most modern turbocharged cars are nowadays, because back in the olden days, turbocharging was a way of power and performance, but not efficiency. And in modern cars, they try to find the blend, where small turbos spool up quick, but you don't get a whole lot of power. You get nice mid-range torque because this is just a commuter car, right? You sacrifice that top-end power. Unfortunately, stock turbo cars like this one and a lot of modern turbo cars, you don't get a nice progressive power curve. You know, they do something like this, it's nice and strong, and then up in the RPMs, they go straight on over, they nose dive. That's just a matter of the fact that these small turbos are not efficient at high RPMs and high boost levels. So with that, it's always been said that those with cars that have small turbos, you're better off not even shifting at redline. This car naturally shifts at 6,500 RPM, but at 6,500 RPM when it shifts, the turbo's making 5 PSI less than it was at 4,500 RPM. So it begs the question, is there a benefit when you have a stock turbo car or a small turbo car to short shifting and keeping the car in a lower RPM or lower operating range to keep max torque available? Will that actually make something like this faster? I've often wondered that, but I never actually put it to the test, and that's what we're going to find out today. So we're going to be taking the Elantra out here on another test drive, and we're going to see if there is a difference between the car's 40 to 80 time, just, you know, letting it shift as it normally would on its own, fully automatic, and then do a separate run back to back, where I'm going to short shift it at about 6,000 RPMs, because that's where I notice power seems to kind of dip off a little bit, and then we're going to compare. Is it a placebo effect? Is there actually truth to short shifting a small turbo car? We're gonna find out. All right, first run, 40 to 80, automatically shifting on its own. So that first run was 6.38 seconds. Not terrible. It's not the worst 40 to 80 this car has done. It's about average. So let's go ahead and do short shifting method and see if it goes any quicker. All right, second run, short shifting at about 6,000 RPM. So short shifting about 6,000 RPM, the car actually went faster. 6.12 seconds, almost tying the fastest ever 40 to 60 this car has ever done. So that is kind of crazy. I didn't actually think there would be that much of an improvement, but we have to look at a little bit more data because I want to see exactly what's going on. So I took logs of both runs as well. We're gonna see why the car went faster right now. So here's the log from both runs. I'm just showing you boost RPM and speed, since that's kind of mainly what we're worried about here. And we can see that in the first run to the left, where I have it highlighted is at the shift point, which is 63.88. Sometimes it shifts at 65, sometimes sooner. It all depends on which gear it's shifting into and what mode you have it in. But you can see it shifted at 63.88, ending with 16.5 PSI of boost. Now, when we move on to our second run to the right, where I short shifted, I thought I shifted at 6, but it looks like it was a little bit after by the time it actually engaged. So 61.78, but look how much boost there was at the shift point. Over a pound more, 17.7. Timing advance was the same on both runs at this point. You can even see the difference in the boost curve and how much more aggressive the boost came in on the second run when I short shifted. Then it kind of nosed off there because I think the car was correcting itself, and then it still held a little bit better boost until the end of the run. And it didn't fall off as much before the shift like it did in the first run. And if we look at the orange line, that is our speed, you can see in the first run it's more flat, more linear, whereas in a second run, it kind of does this hump in the middle. It's a little more aggressive accelerating there in the middle of the run, which would definitely coincide with where the boost was on that shift. Now moving on to the draggy data. So on the left is the first run and on the right is the second run where we short shifted. And if we look closely at the accelerometer, it's very different curves. Look how the first run does this weird dip, especially there in the middle. And I think that's just because it runs out of steam right before the shift. Then it comes back in and then it trails off again. You see the same trail off in the second run, but in the second run where I short shifted, look how much flatter that accelerometer is as the car maintains a flatter torque curve and it keeps accelerating once again right there in the middle where the hump was in our speed graph. So no, this is not a placebo effect. This indeed does work. Verified. The car is faster when you short shift it. Who would have thought? I'm sure you probably did, but it is now verified.
Well, that was pretty cool. Definitely learned something today, and you gotta remember, guys.
It's not the size that's important, it's how you use it.
So hopefully you liked the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, share it with everyone you know. If you want to see more content like this and you haven't already, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, keep a lookout for next Karz Kreated video.